If you're trying to become an instructional designer or land a new instructional design job, then it's a really good idea to learn your way around a few learning management systems. LMSs are a very common tool in the instructional designer's toolkit. So if you're familiar with that before coming into the role, it can show the hiring manager that you can come in and hit the ground running. So in this video, we'll talk about some of those key LMS duties that you may be expected to perform, and we'll take a look at how exactly to perform them. If you're completely new to learning management systems, don't be alarmed. Odds are you've probably used them from the learner's perspective. Common ones in like the higher ed industry are Blackboard and Canvas LMS. In this video, we're going to use Talent LMS just because they have a nice like free forever version where you can upload a few courses and learn the tool. And Docebo LMS has a trial as well. They're a popular one in the corporate space. Adobe Captivate Prime LMS, I believe, is another one that's quite user-friendly. So there are many out there. The core feature set is all about the same. You can upload e-learning courses. You can enroll users in those courses, and then the user has to log in to access them, and you can track their progress. You can see which courses or learning experiences they've completed. You can enroll them in new branches and programs as as you develop them. So it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a way to manage these learning materials. You can gate access to them, and you can track how people are engaging with them. So in a nutshell, that's what a learning management system is. We're going to look at how to do some key tasks in Talent LMS. And remember, the tasks will be about the same no matter which LMS you're using, but how you actually do that in the user interface will be slightly different. They almost all have documentation. So if you look up like how to upload a course, Docebo LMS, it will just be a nice clear guide on how to do so. So this is what we're really looking at. We're looking at how to upload a SCORM or xAPI package. We're going to look at how to enroll a user and how to view completions. So we're keeping it very basic, but these are the things you'll likely be expected to do as an instructional designer who also needs to maybe make some changes in the LMS. And if you do need to do more than that, then you'll be going down a much deeper learning path with your specific LMS. But let's take a look at this and make sure you're not intimidated by like SCORM or xAPI or learning management systems. So what we're going to take a look at first is Storyline itself. So I just opened up a Storyline project that we did in one of these Storyline workshops maybe a couple of months back. It's several slides. It's this personalization experience. You can do light or dark mode, enter your name, and then choose whether or not you've already completed this like previous course. And if you press yes to that question, it will bring you to one slide. And if you press no, it will bring you to another. The reason this is important is because watch when we go to publish this learning experience. So I'll press publish, and you'll see these, again, this is in Storyline. Whatever authoring tool you're using will have very similar options. So if you look on the left, we can publish it to the web, but we want to choose the LMS option. So this is where we can publish it for the learning management system specifically. And there are a few things in these settings that we are very concerned with. The first one is tracking. Okay, so by the default, or tracking, this is saying when this condition is met, it will send that completion status to the learning management system. So in this case, when 5 out of 5 slides have been viewed, the course will tell the learning management system, yes, we are complete. And then when you're on the back end and you want to look at that data, you'll see, okay, Devlin completed the course. And for this course, that means he's viewed all 5 slides. You can see how this would be a problem because depending on how someone answers that question will depend on which slide they view. So we actually never will view all 5 of these slides. We will only view 4 of them. So there are a few different options in Storyline particularly. So one way we could go about that is just change this to 4 slides, and that would be completely fine. So whenever someone's viewed 4 unique slides, they will get that completion status, and that would work in this case. But you can also do this with triggers. So very quickly, let me just show you here. We can add a trigger right here. This isn't a storyline course, but let me just show you, because I'm sure you are familiar with storyline. You can have that complete course action whenever the timeline starts on the last slide or on a specific slide of your course. So I can copy that, I can paste it here, and we accomplish the same goal. We're using triggers to manually send that completed or passed status once they land on the specific slide we want them to land on. So now I will press publish. I'll go back to that LMS tab. Now tracking is set to that complete course trigger, which is just what we want. The second thing we're looking at here is the LMS output. So you see we have SCORM 1.2 and SCORM 2004. SCORM 1.2 is much older than 2004. It just depends on which one your LMS supports. If it supports both, just go with 2004 because it's newer. AICC is older than even SCORM. I've never used this before, but I have heard that one team didn't even move on to SCORM. They're still using AICC. That's definitely not the norm though. Tin Can API. This was the previous name for xAPI. It will let you get a little bit more data out of your courses, but you will not always be able to view it in the easiest way, at least until LMSs come a bit further along. And CMI5, you likely won't need to use this. You can only use Tin Can API and CMI5 if your learning management system supports it. Most of the big ones do, but in most cases, at least now in 2021, SCORM is definitely the norm. The majority of times you'll publish an e-learning course from a tool like Captivate or Storyline, it will be a SCORM package. So we'll just do SCORM 1.2, we'll play it safe, and now we will press publish. You see you can choose the folder, you can choose the title, we can even give it a description, but we'll just leave those how they are and we will press publish. So once it's done publishing, there's something important here. You can view the project. This will just open it right on your local machine, but this is important, okay? To upload a SCORM or an xAPI package, you have to zip it. Okay, so we're going to select this zip option, and it's going to zip everything inside of that folder to create a new folder of its own, a zipped version. So by default, it's the same title, but .zip, that's where we want, so I will press save. So now we have our SCORM package. We're in good shape. We can see it right here. That's exactly what we want. If for some reason you didn't press zip in Storyline and you wanted to zip it after the fact, you would not do it from this screen. We don't want to zip the folder at this view. We want to go inside the folder, select everything, and then press zip right here. So that's how you can make a SCORM package after the fact if you don't use the zip option in Storyline. This will save you a lot of time, so take note of this because it will not work if you try to zip this folder right here. You have to zip the contents. But I think you get it, so let's look over here at Talent LMS now. So we're going to move on to the next piece, and we're going to create a user. So in Talent LMS, all I did was I created an account and signed in. So you can do the same, just press the get started or sign up button when you're on talentlms.com, and then you'll see a view like this once you've signed in. So I'm going to go to this go to menu right here. That is this is like how you navigate around to the different LMS functionality in Talent LMS. And I'm going to go to users because I want to add a user. So here I am, I'm the super admin, but I'm going to press this blue add user button, which will let me add a single user. I also want to point out you can add them in bulk by pressing this import users option. You can just drag in an Excel file. But we just want to add one person because we're just testing here. So we'll just add in some fake names. So we'll say YouTube test. I'll use my other email address. We'll say my username is YouTube. My password, I'll just put something basic. My bio, we don't need that. We're the learner type. You can see you can give people different types of permissions. This is very common in learning management systems. So trainers may be able to see more learner data and change more things than a typical learner can. And then you can create admins and super admins just for increasing levels of permission in the learning management system. So we want this to be the basic permission. We're just enrolling a normal user. These settings look good. They are active. That's their time zone, so we will add them. Okay, it looks like I did this to test. So I'm just going to do Devlin or Devlin +1. That's just a way to use the same email for something that looks a bit different. Yeah, you can add a plus sign and then any numbers and letters you want after your email, and the software will count it as a different email, but your email client will still receive that email. So that's something people do to like have multiple free trials or create multiple accounts without having to make a bunch of email addresses. So there we go. Now it brings us to this courses panel. It seems like this is where we would be able to enroll people in this course. You see here? But we don't want to do that because I want to show you how to actually create a course from scratch, and then we'll enroll the user in it from there. So I'm going to go to this go-to menu again, and I will go to courses. And you see I have just this test course here I made earlier. We're going to create a new one, so we'll press this blue button. And I will say, if you're using Talent LMS to follow along with this, you may see a bunch of test courses or demo courses here. They're not important. They just come with the trial, so you can explore them. So we will add a course. We will call this Personalization 101. We can create separate unique categories and categorize our courses. We don't need to do that right now. Description, learn or experience a personalized e-learning module. Something basic. So you can see we can add an image here, we can add pricing options, we can add an intro video. These are all things that will depend on the learning management system you're using, but in every LMS you'll be able to give it a name and a description and then create it. So if I press save and select users, now we can see this YouTube test account that I created. So I will check that, and then I can go to mass actions and press enroll. Again, all LMSs will have a similar kind of flow here. So we enrolled that user. Yes, I want to enroll them. So there we go. Now they have that learner status. Let's go back to the course tab right here. So here we are. Again, we can change all of these things after the fact as expected, but we also have this option down here to go to course content. So we still need to upload our SCORM package. So that's where we're going to go. I'm going to select that. And you can see we have this option to experience the course as a learner. We can edit the course, or we can add something. So let's go to add and look at all this stuff, right? You can add just like web content, videos, audio clips, presentations. You can track, in most of these modern LMSs, you can upload and track any kind of learning media that you would like. But as an instructional designer, what you'll probably be working with the most often are SCORM packages, because these are the output you get from these slide-based authoring tools. So, and again, there are like built-in tests and surveys and assignments you can do. That's for you to explore with whatever learning management system you wind up maybe diving deeper with or using at your company. So let's select this SCORM option. And like you saw, it said SCORM, xAPI, or CMI5. So whatever package you're using, you'll still be uploading a zipped package, so this would be very similar. So we will call this Personalization 101, and we'll name the unit the same thing as the course. Yeah, we will select this file. We will choose this zipped option. Remember, it won't work if we just select this folder. We have to choose the zipped folder. There we go, it gets uploaded. You'll see we have some options here. We can show it as embedded or a pop-up. So the pop-up option, when we open the course, it will open it up in a new window all on its own. And if we do the embedded option, it will embed it within the Talent LMS user interface. So it will be kind of condensed within there. The cool thing about CMI5, which is based on xAPI, is you don't have to choose between these two. You can just click on the course, it opens up in the same window full screen, and when you complete it, it will bring you right back into the LMS. If you want me to do a video on CMI5, let me know. It's the industry isn't there yet, but really cool functionality with CMI5. So we will show this as a pop-up, just so you can experience that. And now we will save and view. Okay, so now we have this option to start the course. Let's check it out. You see it's loading here. And here we are. This is that course that we just uploaded. We can choose between light and dark mode, and we can go through it. Let's see when we get to the end if it marks it as complete. Okay, so we made it to the end. That's all we needed to do. I will close this now, and you see passed. That's because of that trigger we set up in Storyline, so that whenever someone hits that last page, we mark the course as passed. If we didn't have this, then this would still be in progress. Okay? So that's how we do that. We will return now. Let's just go to the home screen. We're in instructor view because, again, when we chose to view or preview it, it took us out of that admin privilege. So this is how you can choose between learner view, instructor view, and admin view, if you have all of those permissions, which you likely will as an ID working on the back end. So finally, let's look at how we can look at the data, can see the report of who has completed this course, who has not. So I will go to this. You see under reports, we can go to courses. And you can also get there by using this Go To tab at the top. We can do Go To and then Reports. So we can see these two courses. Let's select this one. Oh, and I see it didn't include us as like a completed user because we're the super admin. So I'm going to make that account now that the account I invited earlier. I'll probably need to paste this link. Or I'm going to open an incognito window and then sign in. Oh, we actually have to go to my domain. My domain, it's devlinpeck.talentlms.com. So we will go there. We're going to sign in with the new account that we just created. And we'll use that password. Sorry, we will use the username. So here we are, we only have that learner option. Notice we can't change ourselves to a super admin here because this is that learner account that we created. And we can see because from the admin account we enrolled ourselves in this Personalization 101 course, it shows up right on our home screen. So you can see this is how you're manipulating that like learner experience from the back end. You enroll them in courses, you'll be able to see their completion when they complete it, and they'll have this nice user-friendly view of what they need to get done. So we will start this. Again, we have this button because we chose the pop-up view instead of the embedded view. But if it was the embedded view, it would just open up immediately right there. So here we are, the same course we know and love. We will move through this again. So notice at this point, oh wait, let me show you, sorry. At this point, we have not completed this. But watch once I press this, let's see if it updates immediately. So we'll say yes. So there we go. So you can see behind this, we get this congratulations because when we're designing and developing these courses, we decide when the course is marked as complete. So let's get back over here. We can close this now. Congratulations, we passed. Click to revisit. We don't want to revisit. We got some points for that. This is like some, just a gamification element of Talent LMS. Most of the big ones right now have some sort of feature like this. But let's go back in the admin view now. We'll go back to that course report, and now we can see for Personalization 101, we have one assigned learner and we have one completed learner. Okay, the training time doesn't seem to have been impacted much because we went through that so quickly. But let's go back here again. Let's look at that user report. We can also see user by user, what have they done? How many courses have they completed? We can probably get more granular than that too. We can even see, when they're logging in. Look, these are just features of Talent LMS. These gamification elements, but there we go. That is a quick rundown of what you can do on a learning management system and why you will maybe be expected to know this as an instructional designer. And most of the bigger companies, like there are dedicated learning management system admins. So if you're an instructional designer, you may not have to ever touch one of these, but you can see how when you are doing the development, it's good to get an idea of how this works so you know how these completions are getting communicated. And there are many times with clients I've had to explain to their like internal employees like what's going on with the SCORM package. So having a good understanding of how this all works is good whether you're touching the LMS or not. But if you do expect that you may be involved in LMS admin work. And in most small companies, that is the case because one person is hired to kind of do it all. If you might find yourself in one of those positions, then maybe dive deeper into an LMS and just see what it's capable of. Try playing around with those gamification features. Try creating like user groups and branches. There's a lot you can do with these modern LMSs. Like there's more features than you will ever use. So if you find one you like with a nice free trial, experiment with it. It's just one more thing you can be familiar with in that job search. I will say, if you have not yet seen the hiring manager survey, 50% of hiring managers said that an LMS was one of the top 3 tools or technologies that an instructional designer should be familiar with upon hire. So if you haven't seen that full survey, check it out. I'll link it in the top right and below. But yeah, knowing the basics around an LMS, even just doing what we just did in this video, that's enough to get hired, I would say. You don't have to do anything super complex. But if you do have any questions, please let me know in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you in the next video.